that word when you have to tell a friend, a loved one, it's not cool. It's absolutely horrible. So obviously it had progressed at some point, and like I say, this is why I would always say, and you do it with the charity as well, to get people to check themselves and just go straight to the GP and stuff. For me, I instinctively called the GP, but I hadn't even felt anything before. For whatever reason that day, I may have just spent more time down there or whatever, but I found it and I just went straight in. I do think in hindsight, if you leave something like that, it grows and it grows and it's further. I mean, it was a stage 3, so obviously I'd had it for some time.
Yes.
And they were just like, we're taking it out.
Hello, and welcome to the Thrive Against Cancer podcast, where we give a voice to the cancer community. My name is Toby Freeman, founder and CEO of the Robin Cancer Trust, cancer advocate, and your host. Every episode, we will be hosting open and honest conversations with people affected by cancer, whether personally, as a family member, clinician, or charities and organisations. We will be talking to the cancer community about the cancer community and all the things that are important to you. Our guest today was diagnosed with testicular cancer in May 2014, sick for 14 months, in hospital for 116 days, and had 2 weeks to live until a stem cell donor saved his life in 2015. 8 years later, he solo travelled South America for 14 months, aiming to match the 116 days in hospitals, but ended up doing 414 instead. Today, he's sitting here with me telling his story. Our guest today is Stephen Clarke.
Hey, Toby, nice to meet you, man.
Good to see you.
Been a while.
It has been a while. You've been the other side of the world.
Indeed.
And that is a long journey to get there. I'm basically just going to hand over in our new studio for those watching, because we've got a new setup,
I'm liking it, yeah.
to you to tell your story. Shall we begin way back when, over 10 years ago?
Yeah, so like I say, I remember the date very well, May 16th, 2014. The most bizarre week probably of my life at that point. So on a Monday, I was in the shower, just randomly. And before then, I must say, I'd never even thought about checking myself for any lumps or anything. But on that particular day, I found a lump. I found something that was quite irregular. It hadn't been painful or anything. I physically felt normally fine. But I felt a lump and it did not feel right. So after that, and I'm alone in the flat at this point, I'm just stewing over it for a while, not knowing what to do. Do I message anybody or anything? And I just instinctively rang my GP. So I found something. It's very unusual. It's on one of my testicles. Can I get an appointment, please? That was Wednesday. So on the Wednesday, I go to the GP. Pants drop. They check and they're kind of like, they've seen something else maybe perhaps. And they're like, right, okay. Now we need to book you into hospital to be seen. I'm like, okay, this is pretty quick. So at this point, I'm in the flat on my own. My partner's away with work. I've not told anyone. I had a friend that came to visit me on that day, and I'm like, well, I'm already thinking that it might be something bad, but I don't want to tell anyone. I don't want to, mention any words that might cause any upset or things like that. So Friday I go in, have an ultrasound. During that ultrasound, more doctors are called in, and now all of a sudden I'm going, oh, shit, like, this can't be good, because they're asking for more people to come in. I'm literally there, balls are out, covered in the jelly that they're using, and they tell me, and then they take blood.
Goop.
Yeah, it's really cold stuff too. And now I'm just sitting there alone in a waiting room, not knowing what to do. Do I call anybody? Do I get in touch with my mum? So I'm originally from Stoke-on-Trent at this point. I'm living in London with my partner. And that level of fear is coming over, and they call me back in, and you can kind of already guess what they're going to say sometimes. I always say to people, despite doctors and nurses being absolutely amazing, they wouldn't be very good at poking me, because you can just read their face, and you sit down and they're like, right, Mr. Clarke. And I'm like, okay, and I'm waiting for it. And it's, you have testicular cancer. We're actually going to remove the tumor, that testicle, on Monday. So within a week, 7 days, I felt a lump, went to the GP. By Friday, 4 days later, I was diagnosed. By Monday, an operation was set to take the whole thing out.
And you're on your own at this point. Like, what do you do at that weekend as well?
So my partner was coming back on the Saturday. And again, I didn't want to send a message or whatever to say, oh, I've got something to tell you, because they're making their way back. I'm not going to lie. On that Friday, I just went home, called one of my closest friends that I could trust, spoke to him, burst into tears. And just basically, I got drunk that night. I put my headphones on and just started dancing to music. I thought, right, okay, this is the only way that I can cope with this right now. I have no idea what I'm going to tell my long-term partner. Like, I've no idea how we are then going to tell my brother, my mother, and family. It's like, what the hell are we going to do? So my partner came, and I sat her down, and again, she reads me like a book, and I say, there's no other way I can't get around this. I've been diagnosed with testicular cancer. They need to run more tests, of course, but at the moment we're going straight into surgery on Monday. They're taking it away.
Because they don't stage you, they don't do anything. It's just like, let's get this
done. Then we'll get the bloods.
Yeah.
We'll do the the markers and tumor markers after that. And we're like, she's like, okay. Am I okay? You okay? She's like, no, of course, but let's do this. So at this point, we only tell very close family and friends because we don't know the outcome. We don't know what stage it is, what the next steps are. And of course, I think whatever cancer it is, that word when you have to tell a friend, a loved one, it's not cool. It's absolutely horrible. So we have the surgery. A prosthetic is offered as a replacement. I'm always the kind of person who tries to make light of a situation. So I was like, can we make it a disco ball? Can it shine in the UV light or something? Otherwise, I just don't want it. But we just decided not to because we didn't want any more complications or anything. So that occurred.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's some recovery. A few weeks later, once everything had healed, we'd gone in, they'd done markers and everything, and then it turns out that it was a stage 3 seminoma. So obviously it had progressed at some point, and like I say, this is why I would always say, and you do it with the charity as well, to get people to check themselves and just go straight to the GP and stuff. For me, I instinctively called the GP, but hadn't even felt anything before. For whatever reason that day, I may have just spent more time down there or whatever, but I found it and I just went straight in. I do think in hindsight, if you leave something like that and it grows and it grows and it's further, I mean, it was a stage 3, so obviously I'd had it for some time.
Yes.
And they were just like, we're taking it out. Then they say it's chemotherapy. We need to shrink that, and then we go from there. So it was quite a normal one, a usual one, BEP chemo.
Sort of a standard regimen of
exactly over a certain amount of time, and then it's like, right, we'll take blood counts and everything after that. And at that point, my partner and I were still in the midst of telling friends, but we were looking online for support. So one of the things we didn't do, and I wouldn't recommend anybody to do, is go and check out Dr. Google. These are the symptoms. Be told by a doctor. What can I do? And you're just then bombarded with remedies and things that you should, mindfulness and things like that. So thankfully we did avoid that, but we were just looking for support groups. So at the time I found one on Facebook. It was Checkham Lads, which is now Testicular Cancer UK, which is run by Philly. And that was a group of people that had people going through it, people that had survived, relatives and friends that were also in there. And it was just a community, and I kind of felt seen at that point. And I also came across, I think you were doing something similar as well. We met a year afterwards at Snowdon.
We call it Snowdon. Yeah.
So there were these groups, and of course I was concerned for Lorna too, and then we tell friends. And so with testicular cancer, they do tell you it's if you are to get one, it's the kind of highest survival rate. It's around 95%, I believe. In men of a certain age, I was 37 when I got diagnosed. So a bit older than usual.
Just a bit, 30 to 34 is the main, but
Yeah, so I had a guy called Edward Solly who was in this group, and he actually came to me for my first chemo session. Obviously Lorna wasn't keen on being in hospital for that. We were quite unsure about what would happen. You read up on it, you're told about the side effects and things like that. And yeah, the chemotherapy obviously kicks your ass as well. You feel really terrible. You have these side effects that go along with it. And then I think, so that was 9 weeks roughly or something like that. And at some point they actually had to take out the bleomycin in that because it was affecting my lungs.
Right.
Obviously chemo affects your immune system. So that gets low. So now you're at risk of infections.
Yeah.
Having the injections like you do for GCSF ones to keep your immune system going to try and combat that. Sickness, diarrhea, constantly being tired, and everything just kind of changed during that. I was weak, unresponsive to people, really becoming really depressed. My partner too, she was trying to go to work. There's only one of us with an income now. So all of these things were quite stressful. So 9 weeks pass, And we're like, we've done it. We made it. We're on the other side. Surely
Right,
we're
yeah.
going to be good. More bloods for markers and stuff, and we go in, and the poker face is even worse now because they're like, well, the cancer spread to the lymph nodes in the chest and abdomen. So I guess at that point during the treatment,
Right.
it's now in other places.
So it got worse during treatment.
Yeah,
which is obviously the last thing you're thinking is going to happen. You know,
of course, yeah. We're in groups. Everyone's,
Yeah.
You've got this. It's fine. I had those 9 weeks, and I came out of it. It's
Yeah.
fine. I think maybe perhaps because it was a stage 3, that it'd been different. So of course you go in there with all the optimism, and you're like, I have my partner, I have these friends, I have this like community that's built around me now, and all of the support for me and my partner. And you go in and you're like, easy. And they're like, no, you need more chemotherapy and treatment and stuff. And during these times, I was in and out of hospital with infections, because obviously that's what happens. Your immune system is low. I lost a hell of a lot of weight as well, and at that point, we just like, I don't know what to do. How long is this going to take now? We thought it would be 9 weeks, and we thought we'd be good. The tumor's been taken out. Fortunately, that wasn't the case at that point.
That's a big mental barrier as well, isn't it? Because someone says this is your treatment plan. You can see an end goal. You're like, there's a 9-week window.
Yeah.
I'm going through hell. Chemotherapy's rubbish. You're in the support group. You're getting, imagine prep, people telling you what it's going to be like. It's not going to be easy.
Exactly.
But all of that builds a mental, and then 9 weeks later, no, we're not.
We're gonna do more. Lots of blood transfusions along the way. Like I say, so I was actually in hospital a few times at this point at Guy's and St. Thomas's, in there with infections. So every time I had chemo at the time, it was like an outpatient. You go in and then you go home. So obviously Lorna's trying to work from home at this point as well. So then we get re-referred to Bart's Hospital, to a doctor called Dr. Shamash, who's well known in this kind of this field or whatever. And they're like, right, well, we need to do something now because the cancer has spread. The chemo, it must have done something, but now it's here, there, and everywhere. So now I have a different regimen of chemo. IPO, it was completely different, and this came along with different side effects. Even to this day now, I have like nerve damage in my toes. Basically, it's like constant pins and needles sort of thing. So this particular regimen of chemo gives you like pins and needles. So if it's cold, it becomes painful if you were to pick up a can from a fridge or something like that. And this was during December, so everything's just absolutely painful. We're months and months into this now, and I'm sort of like mentally getting fatigued. Friends are coming to visit. And at some point, I'm sure previous guests have said too, I didn't actually want people to see me. Like I didn't want, people would drive all the way down from Stoke, and then they'd get to the ward, and I'd just be like, I'm really sorry, I can't. I'm sleeping all the time. So I actually spent Christmas and New Year 2014-15 again with another infection, just how it is.
You just on an isolation ward at this point.
Exactly. Yeah. My immune system's really low. We're not sure what's going to happen, because obviously we thought we'd nailed it the first time. And then obviously at this point with the second round of a different chemotherapy, I'd actually gone back to work briefly in between, thinking that the tumors had shrunk enough and we could do this, but I was getting aches and pains, and those aches and pains were obviously the cancer still having its way with me. So we're like, we're screwed, aren't we? Like, is there a way out of this? And so from May now to December, Dr. Shimash now is pretty confident that the chemo is going to work, and it does to a point. The tumors are shrinking again, and it's obviously a different treatment. He knows exactly what he's doing. It's all in his hands.
I mean, he's one of the leading specialists. Rob was under Dr. Shamash as well. So I know this very well.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
And the team, and they do amazing work. But
he's very well known in that. And I remember telling a few people as well, like, I'm under the care of Dr. Shamash, and I'm like, that's fine.
But there's something scary being about under the top one of the top specialists as well. Like,
I've been looking at it, right? You're like, well, I'm good now. But I must have hit a point.
Yes.
Like, obviously with Robin, that like, why am I under one of the best in the world? So that's actually a really good perspective to think about it, because we were like, this is cool, but at the same time, okay. But he had this in mind. He's up there for a reason on that level. So yeah, he was happy with the treatment after that. So the next plan then was to try and sort out my immune system now, because the cancer's had its way with me. The chemo's battered me left and right. There's not much left of me. My weight's dropped to around, I think, was around 60 kilos. A bit later on, it got worse. But so at this point now, he decided that we would do a stem cell transplant, but we would harvest my own stem cells, keep them in storage, have some treatments in January and April. So we were going to have 2.
So this is because the chemotherapy has basically ravaged your body so much. You want to reset.
Yeah,
everything.
Absolutely reset. Hit the button. Let's get it done. Because now we're not so worried about the cancer side of things, because the treatment's working. They're getting positive results from markers, scans, and all that kind of stuff. So the thing is, for stem cell transplants, as I'm sure some of the people watching or listening to this, or people who've been on the show before, you have a round of high dose chemo. So it's more intense. It's around 7 days, I believe, of a regimen that you have it. And the side effects are just way worse than anything I've ever felt in my life, physically, mentally. And then you have medicine for the side effects, which have other side effects. But the idea is that 7-day high-dose chemo, I think it was called TOPCAT, TOPKAT, literally wipes out your immune system. So rather than just kind of like have a certain effect on it, it's gone. It takes that, with the plan of reintroducing your stem cells again, these harvested ones, to go in. They'll kind of go and do their thing, and then your neutrophil count, your white blood cell count, hopefully just goes up and up and up. Time off, and then we're going to go back in April to do it. So now we're into 2015. The treatment goes in, of course. It's absolutely terrible, but we know it's for a good thing. So mentally, we're kind of like, it's not much left in the tank for me or my friends or anybody at this point. But
but again, it's a short window, right? 7 days. Let's get through this bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I end up in hospital at that point for 27 days, just having the treatment, waiting for the count to come up. I'm in a separate ward now, so it's kind of like the temperature's really low. People obviously have to basically come in suits or whatever to see me. If you've got a cold, do not go and see Steve, basically. Like, the immune system's gone.
Yeah, I remember all this.
Of course.
Get on the train to go see Rob, cough once, get straight back home. Literally that bad.
Like, no one can come in. If you were standing at reception and there's even an itch or something, then you wouldn't be allowed in. So this goes well. 27 days, we're back home. Obviously, again, the side effects, I'm sort of almost bedridden from the treatment and everything like that. So see you in April. Cool. We go in April, and now I'm joking with the nurses because I'm well known at this point, going in and out of BARTs, CCMS all the time. And I was like, I wonder if we'll get out before those 27 days. I wonder how long it'll take this time. I know I'm going to feel like shit. I know that what's coming now, at least we're prepared. Yeah. We know there's the anti-sickness medication. So we now, at this point, we're kind of like, surely now we're good. Unfortunately, those stem cells didn't take at that point. Again, as we know, with friends and family that we lost, you can have the best treatment in the world, and sometimes it won't work. So what happens is, I have the 7-day chemo again. My immune system's wiped out. We go to do the stem cells, and my neutrophils are going up. Nothing's happening. Not really any explanation for this. It happens.
Right.
Everyone's still trying their best. And so now this is where, as you've said before, I am actually now in hospital for around 4 months, 116 days. And I'm in a ward and I'm getting infections now at this point. I have no white blood cells in my body. There's no immune system. Yeah. My weight dropped down to around 40 kilos now, and I'm skeletal. I know that I've shared pictures online on social media of this, and it's quite upsetting. I have a tube up my nose because I'm just trying to keep weight on.
I mean, 40 kilos is actually quite hard to imagine. I've seen the pictures, obviously, but it is,
So to explain to people, like, I still have that picture just as a reminder to now, and obviously I'm put some weight on, which is all good. But yeah, I was bedridden. I literally couldn't even get up to go over to the other side of the room to go to the bathroom. I would literally soil myself on a daily basis, and would have to get a nurse to come in. So now I'm absolutely ashamed. I'm wasting away. And then at this point, they're trying to find a stem cell donor to hopefully make it this way. They test my mother and brother at the time. Obviously, you would think they'd be not a match.
Most likely familial is the way to go, isn't it?
You'd think that too, and it obviously really upset my brother at the time because he wasn't a match and things like that. So now they're constantly looking, but at this point now, I'm on what's called like a syringe driver. So I'm constantly now on morphine 24 hours a day, because the pain is just, it's immense. I have tubes coming out of my back because my lungs keep flooding. I'm in so much pain that the morphine's actually not touching the sides. I'm taking painkillers on top of that. I'm going to the bathroom in the bed for at least a month. I'm wasting away. At this time, my partner's probably the only one allowed to come in because of the lack of immune system. And then it got to a point where they spoke to her. So I'm drifting in and out of conscious now at this point. Like, there's so much pain, and it's going to be upsetting for people to hear, a lot of people do that. But it got to the point for me where I really didn't want to wake up the next day. It's like, I can't do this. It was just like, it's like I'm throwing up. I'm the pain, my bones, my body's screaming. Like, I can't sleep because I have not only a catheter, but there's tubes, the blood transfusions, tubes in my back, and all these kind of things. I'm constantly going for scans. I'm not even wanting to eat. So I don't know how to put that in context so much as to say, I don't think that it was that I wanted it to die, but I wanted it to end. I just didn't want to wake up. It was like, I've got nothing left in the tank now. I don't know what I'm going to do. And Lorna came in, my partner at the time, and I just kept seeing her, like, and then she was told. I wasn't told because I didn't know, but they said, if we don't find a donor soon, you're going to have to start telling people to come and say goodbye. And that haunts me to this day, because like, we're not together anymore, but I can't believe the things that she went through. Like, since then I've also lost friends and family, but at that time she was told 2 weeks. But the donor was found, and that was found by Anthony Nolan. And of course there's a lot of things going on, but that gentleman came down, he got the call, but rather than just waiting and stuff, they were like, you need to come down now. So he dropped everything, came down, had the same procedure, which is they take the blood out, centrifuge gets out the stem cells, and do it that way. And then I think maybe they were obviously put into me. He went off, and I at this point I still don't really know what's going on. I'm probably just...
Did you know that was happening, or was that just sort of things were so much happening to you?
So much going on. I mean, people were literally changing my bags and stuff like that, doing my bed baths, because, again, like I say, I couldn't go to the bathroom. So I was just kind of like, I remember, because a nurse will sit with you whilst you're having the stem cells, and you drift in and out. Because of the morphine, I was doing a lot of hallucinating and I didn't know what was real and what wasn't at the time. But I remember it has worked, but at the time I kind of woke up, and there was maybe 4 or 5 nurses and Lorna around my bed, all crying, all like tears. And I so I sat up and I said, who's died? Like, I just thought, and they were like, it was almost you idiot. Like, because I'm tripping, I really don't know what's going on. Like, are you actually real? So yeah, my neutrophils were going up. But obviously then at that point in the picture that I've shared, it's me learning how to walk again. So obviously there's a lot of rehabilitation after this. So 116 days later, August the 1st, 2015, only just now, it's been a decade since then, I was allowed to go home. I still had like physical therapy and all these other stuff. And even now, 10 years later, my hematologists and oncologists, I'm on checks for life now, just because of being so close and having the stem cell transplant. So yeah, obviously extremely grateful to be alive, but something from a 95% survival rate over the course of 14 months, as you said in the introduction, probably turned out to be flipped to a 5% survival rate. And 2 weeks, and obviously every day I'm very grateful. That's changed my whole perspective. And then fast forward 2 years, that's when you're allowed to get in touch with Anthony Nolan and mention, get in touch with the donor, because still at that point you've now got somebody else's stem cells. So now they can attack you, and there's a thing called graft versus host, where you're still at risk of death. And I'm just like, can I catch a break? I already had 2 weeks to live, and now 2 years of not knowing. But yeah, that went well. I got in touch. We've never met. I've never met my donor. He didn't want to. That's fine. But yeah, as I've said, I had a handwritten note that just said, I'm happy to help. Go out now and live your life. Take this literal second chance, which is, of course, what I did after that 8 years later. I went traveling.
You certainly did. I mean, that is just the wildest story, what you've been through. And obviously I've seen the pictures. I've we've been connected for many years now, so I've known
Exactly.
it. But hearing it just now is so unbelievable. Like, we're going to talk about all the stuff you did post that, but like all of that just because you happen to have checked your balls, you know, on that day, that one time, and you took quick action. I know you went through all of that, but the outcome would have been very different if you'd
Exactly.
potentially not. But
that's why I appreciate
Jeez.
the things that your charity does and the others that support me as well, because I think we took part in the getting as many people to check their balls as possible at one point and things like that. I'm always an advocate for that, because people could leave it and it could get to the stage that mine got to. I obviously did go to the doctor, but I do think there's a lot of, especially with testicular cancer within men of a certain age, there's a lot of male pride where they're like, I'm not going to drop my pants and let someone touch my balls. Like, it'll be fine. You know, it's only this. And I think sometimes that can, again, it can progress. It could get worse. It could get to my point, or even worse with anybody else. Like, mine obviously spread because it had got to a point where, you know, over time and what stage it was, you know, in hindsight, maybe I could have checked it a month before and gone, oh. But I think that's the time, isn't it, when someone finds something that they think, oh, it's nothing, it's not.
Just get it checked. Yeah, absolutely. That.
And I've seen all of the guests when you say, what's the piece of advice?
I will get there. Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah. But yeah, of course. But so I watch all of them, and I think that's the thing. It's a game changer.
Yeah, it is.
And it was a whirlwind. Like, say, 7 days, you know, bish bash bosh, and within a week, I'm diagnosed, and they've literally removed one of my testicles, and I'm going in for chemo treatment. So, but obviously, I'm glad that I did, and I would highly recommend people to do that for sure.
It's those 7 days were a whirlwind, but the next 14 months were a constant tornado. Don't know which one's worse, whirlwind or tornado, but it's the analogy works. I think
it does. I totally get. Yeah.
But did you? All of that's happened. When was the first time you stopped and had any opportunity? Because not only when you wake up, everyone's surrounding you, the nurses, your partner. You've then got all this rehabilitation. You know, we shouldn't undersell how you literally had to learn how to walk again, how to move, how, you know, I imagine your body needed to work out how to eat food again, and all of that, you know, proper bowel movements, like that takes 100%. Time.
Yeah. I mean,
when was the first time you just had an opportunity to go, holy shit, what? Or is that just happening over the years?
It does happen over time. I think it doesn't actually hit you until, because I thought my end days were in the hospital. You get to day 100 and you're like, I'm still here. Like, my birthday's coming up in August, and I'm like, am I going to make my birthday?
Yeah.
And then when they came and said you can go home, when it was day 116 and stuff, like, I obviously had to prove that I could make it to the toilet and stuff. I obviously had walking aids and things, but even after going home, you're exactly right. I spent maybe 2 months with a tube up my nose being fed. So now I've got to learn it. Ridiculous. It sounds daft, but I have to learn how to eat and chew and to digest proper food and all these things. For 2 years, I had to go to my GP to get all of the baby jabs that you get for your immune system, because now I've got a brand new immune system.
Yeah, sort of things you wouldn't ever think of.
There we go. Yeah. So every Thursday, I'm now sitting in a thing with, like.
Do they give you a lollipop? Sorry, I really
don't.
Even as an adult with your baby jabs, they don't do it to the foot.
Literally a load of mums with their babies.
Yeah.
And they're like, why is this guy here? And then over time you get to know them all. What are you here for today? I'm doing my mumps one today. What's your little thing? And it's like, I literally had to reset. Well, because I had nothing. I had someone else's stem cells, and so I had to have all that done as well. On a lot of medication to prevent graft versus host.
Yep.
But I actually had a book. And the book that Lorna came up with the idea, and he said day one was walk up 1 step. Day 2 was 2 steps. Day 3. So I have these things, and I got to like week 2. So my actual end goal I had was literally to walk 10 minutes down the road to go to a cafe and have an English breakfast. That was it. Things that we all take for granted.
Yeah.
Like, it took me maybe 3 weeks before I could even step into the shower on my own and do that. And I a grown man, so happy that I could literally just stand up on my own, you know, and shower. All of the things that you just do in everyday life that I was doing again. It was literally like being reborn, mentally and physically. So yeah, I think that was my holy shit moment when I showered myself for the first time without any aids, like literally standing up, balancing. And I still have that book, you know. I think day 6, I couldn't actually get to the 6th step, and I was like, oh, like I thought, could it? Because my mind wanted to jump across mountains and
Yeah.
wanted to do all of these things that I never would have wanted to do before. My body was like, no, you've got to wait for that to happen, mate. So,
Which is sort of torture in itself anyway, isn't it? You know?
oh yeah, I was massively depressed, and I think, despite the fact that I had the second chance at life, you know, I would spend days in bed not wanting to leave because, you know, I couldn't get up that 6th step. I'm
Mm.
like, Jesus, I thought I could. I thought it would be once you get past that hurdle and once you're cleared or in remission, sorry, I should say, and all of those things, you're like, it's easy now, isn't it? It's still a mental struggle.
Yeah.
My partner, like I say, had actually had a mental breakdown, you know, because you're witnessing your loved one going through this, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
We are no longer together. We did separate, but we're actually still in touch, and she's my best friend, and we both have partners now. But of course, like there's a bond there that will never be broken. And I always have this guilt though of that she went through that, and you know, things like that. And you know, my mum passed away 5 years after that from cancer, and that's not my fault, and I know that, but I feel so guilty every day sometimes, like survivor's guilt,
Yeah.
I think, because hers wasn't as progressed sort of as mine, you know. It's like whatever, different style, different type. It was lung then brain. But she passed, and I was like, fuck, man, like I don't like, why wasn't it me? Like I was literally so close, and yet 5 years later she went, and then friends have passed since, and it's a tremendous, I know it's not my fault, but I still feel bad. And that for me, I'm going to be honest, that sometimes is a struggle, like, because I go traveling and do all these amazing things now, and things I never would have done. You know, I was happy-go-lucky before. I was touring in bands. I had my own record label. I was like, life is good. But now life is better. But then people that you know sort of don't get it, and you're just like, oh, shit. But I do make the most of it. And like I say, I went traveling to try and match those 116 days that I spent in hospital in South America in 2023. Now that we've jumped to there, so yeah.
It's a horrible double-edged sword, isn't it? The survivor's guilt, and I don't think that ever goes away. I think that stays with you, and it's that horrible. You've been through so much. You've got all that experience and that empathy that comes with that.
Yeah.
And you want that for everyone, but yeah, cancer's that bastard gift that keeps on giving. Years down the line.
Even afterwards, yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, life is indeed really good right now. I'm back in the job that I was doing before because of the levels of empathy that I have now. I'm actually working in the homeless sector, trying to change lives. And as cliched as it sounds, I wanted to give something back.
Yeah.
I wanted to work in the cancer sector at first and stuff, obviously to share my story and experience to A, try and get more people to register for donors, B, be part of a community, and actually be there for the people that were there for me in groups, which I still do to this day. Someone will say, look, hope you don't mind, but I've got a friend who's been diagnosed. Philly did it recently with somebody who was about to have a stem cell transplant. And I'm like, I'm more than happy to share my experience. Obviously, it's a bit of a different one, but in terms of just supporting someone, because people are always going to tell you got this, and it's great. And it's really nice to hear. People feel helpless. But for me, having people who with lived experience of it, whether it was a relative or someone that could help my partner or someone that had gone through it, and you know, the guy that came and joined me on my first chemo session said, this is going to suck.
Yes.
Nobody ever sugarcoated it. They're like, this is going to suck really badly. You're going to feel like shit. The chemo's going to do this to you, etc. and stuff. And that's why I kind of do with that. But I'm also, you know, a big advocate, of course, for people to check themselves and do all that kind of stuff too.
Well, I think you use your story and your experience amazingly, and I think maybe let's talk about how that has framed the rest of your life moving forward. So yeah, 8 years later, you took everything you've been through, and you're like, I'm going to do something crazy.
I am. So that was a one-way ticket to a carnival in Brazil with the intention of maybe spending a short time there and then to move on and just to see where I would go. My goal was to spend 116 days in South America. And I only went there because I had a Brazilian friend at work. So he said, just go there, go to the carnival. It's great.
I was going to ask.
And that's where it was. I could have gone anywhere in the world, and that just took me there. So the intention was I had it in my phone. I had the alarm, day 116, wherever you are in Brazil or Argentina, wherever it would be, then just come home. And you've then matched those days. Because obviously I've lost 4 months of my life in hospital. I go to Brazil, get robbed on day one. It's absolutely like a lot of crazy things do happen. But I'm more of a resilient person because of this too. I'm kind of like, oh, fuck it, I've cheated death. Someone's putting in that one. Yeah, I got robbed, whatever. And other things happen that probably some people would go. But I was like determined. I wanted to do that day. I had to stay out here now.
It's like a purpose.
Exactly. Yeah. I make my way through Brazil. I get into Argentina, and that's when my phone goes off at some point. I'm in Bariloche. I'm sort of just making my way through the mountains at this point. I'm sharing on social media and everything. I'm emailing my donors, like say with, so I'm just sending these messages going, this is because of you. The phone goes off, day 116, and I'm on a 13-hour buzz somewhere, and I'm break down in tears. Are you okay? Like, yeah, it's very, very poignant day for me. And then my ex-partner and other friends are like, so when are you going to come back? I was just looking at the map and went, not yet. Made it into Chile. When are you coming back? Not yet. Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia. Now I'm in Peru, and it's like day 300 and something. When are you coming back? I'm like, not sure. So I'm literally making my way across the whole of South America. Go through. I even got as far as to like Venezuela. I think then, so yeah, 116 days turned into 414.
It's not bad innings, is
Few
it?
punches away from the whole continent. The things that I saw, the things that I did, and one of the most poignant things, of course, was I started getting into hiking, which then got into climbing, and now I'm absolutely obsessed with mountains and volcanoes. So yeah, so I made one attempt in Ecuador to climb Chimborazo, which is the highest point, the closest point to the sun.
Oh, because of the equator.
Yeah, didn't get that far up there because of the altitude, but I'm determined to go back. So yeah, I've come back just now, as you know, from 9 months there. It's my favorite place in the world. I worked in a hostel in Cotopaxi in Mindanao. I've climbed volcanoes and done things I never would have done before. If you'd have told me 10 years ago before this whole diagnosis, I would have told you to go F yourself, or like, there's no way that's going to happen. I don't even like running. And I've seen you doing the running as well. But, I ended up doing half marathons across Europe because I just thought, I sod this. I'm just going to, oh yeah, Paris, cool. Latvia, yeah. All of these things.
Colchester half marathon as well. I've got to shout out.
Do you know what? Yeah. And I even went back to Stoke-on-Trent. So you go around these places and you do Colchester and Stoke, man. It's like, Stoke was actually the hardest one. But yeah, all of these things that I never would have done before.
Yeah.
Some of that is down to guilt, because I'm like, if I don't make the most of this, then what am I doing with my life? And I'm doing this for mum. But then a lot of it is actually me taking care of myself, because that's a really difficult thing to do mentally and physically. So yeah, my plan is now long term to go back to Ecuador in January. I met the love of my life over there. A really beautiful, amazing, kind, loving person who's just been there for me. Wasn't expecting that. So the plan is to go over there, get married, and maybe spend a year or two in Ecuador, maybe to come here. So yeah, that's my partner, Carrie. And again, all of these things I never expected to happen. And now, especially after a long-term relationship with somebody previously who, like, say, is my best friend, but still I was like, they're not going to happen. And yeah, happily in love, going to get married, and I'm going to go back to Ecuador and make another attempt on the closest point to the sun.
More mountains.
I am obsessed.
That's amazing. When you're up on the mountains, do you reflect on where you were? Do you have those
100%.
moments where you're like, I literally could not get out of bed. This was impossible for me.
To think that I had a book that said, try and get to the cafe 10 minutes down the road. And now I'm like, and a lot of the time you go up in groups, some are too dangerous to do that. So you can't actually go up. But I've done some solo ones, and that's when I'm looking across the skyline. I'm above the clouds. The sun's coming down, and I'm like, this is amazing. But I do reflect on those times. Because that's something I don't think will ever disappear. But yeah, I'm top of volcanoes in South America, just being like, this is me now. This is my life now.
It's amazing, isn't it?
But yeah.
Do you said guilt's a big driver as well, or it's always there.
Yeah.
Do you find that balance between pushing yourself and not pushing yourself too far? Do you try and find that balance? Do you find sometimes it can tip? Because we've had guests previously that have said, once you come out of it, it's easy to be like whole hog, 100 miles an hour. And actually you can burn out from that. That's not a very sustainable way.
And I did. Those were the days, as I say, after the rehabilitation, I would then burn out to the point where I wouldn't even want to leave my bed or room because I'm so actually exhausted. Because again, as I've seen guests say before, your mind's going 100 miles an hour, and your body's sometimes going, whoa, put the brakes on there, or take a moment, like, and you think that's you being kind to yourself, because I'm going to push myself now. I'm going to run all of these half marathons, for example. I couldn't even run a 5K before. I didn't know what I was doing. Coming back from Latvia, for example, and I'm absolutely exhausted, and I was like, okay, let's take a moment. No, I want to go to Berlin now. Like, there's one next week or the one week after, and it's just like, it's exhausting for people around you too. Like, they're just watching you, and they try their best to stop you, and they don't. So I gave myself time. I even did the same thing when I was traveling. I was like, oh man, I've got to stay out here, because if I don't, what am I doing with my life? But I also enjoy just, doing nothing and things like that. I think it's just learning to be kinder to yourself. As much as you think you are, sometimes you're actually not. As I've seen previous guests say, you go so fast, you suddenly stop and go, oh, you don't have a moment to stop and think about it.
That's the thing, isn't it? You have to eventually deal with everything you've been through, whether that is taking a minute, sitting outside on your porch, or at the top of a mountain overlooking the clouds. I imagine you can't keep running away from what's happened.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that's what somebody actually asked me when I came back, or when I said I'm still staying out there. Someone actually said, "Are you actually in South America because you're running away from something that's actually still going to be with you all the time? Like, you still have these feelings, right?" I'm like, yeah, you still physically feel bad because you've pushed yourself up these volcanoes. I did. I used to. I was like, right, I have to do one a week. Why do I have to do one a week? Why can't it be one a month? Why can't I just slowly train for something? And I made a very poor attempt for Chimborazo, the closest point to the sun, because I just thought, well, I need to do that. And then I couldn't do it. And then I was even harder on myself, to the point where the guides are actually like, you know what, just slow and steady.
Yeah.
Like, just, there's no race to win. You're not trying to beat anything or anyone. Like, you've got to go at your. So my pace, after that, I learned. I slowed down. I stopped. Some days I did nothing. Some days I just, I just go to the park in Crystal Palace now and just sit there with a coffee and just do nothing and just watch and listen and just see what's going on around me, and take those moments to be kinder to myself.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't. I thought I was, but I was probably punishing myself, like, especially physically, because of family and friends that I lost. I'm like, well, I have to do this for them.
And distraction is amazingly addictive as well.
Of course, 100%. That was my distraction.
Yeah.
Running and climbing. But now I'm stopping so that I can actually enjoy it.
Yeah. There
will be sometimes I might not make the summit, but I would push myself and I would be on the summit, but my body would be wrecked for days because of, like, instead of going back down and trying to get another time. No, Steve, you nearly died. You had 2 weeks to live. You've got to do this today.
Yeah. Whereas actually, hopefully you've been through that. Doesn't matter if you make it to the top. Like, you've still done incredible for where you've got to.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where the reflection comes in, as you've said. Like, you have to just look back and go, there was a time when you couldn't even walk over to the toilet. You couldn't, like I say, I'm glad that you asked. That moment for me was that shower. I'll never forget that moment. Oh my God.
Something you literally get to do, most of us get to do every day. Like, couldn't be more taken for granted. And that's
just, I tied my shoelaces as well. And Lorna's at this point was like, did you see what you just did? Well, what do you mean? Do it all the time. And so there's footage of me in hospital doing things like just standing up with my physical therapist, like, do you see what you just did? And so there are certain things that you kind of do instinctively, but certain things now I'm like, oh, I can't reach up to that shelf to get that thing from there. I can't do this, but you see these gradual changes, and every day is a blessing. I wake up and I'm grateful every day. Some days I wake up and I'm like, damn, I wish I could tell my mum about Ecuador. I wish I could WhatsApp her and send her that picture, and that sometimes I still think, oh, I stop myself. I'm like,
those ones.
Horrible. Yeah, as I'm sure you know yourself. Even years after or whatever, you still think, and she'd be proud though. So I know that much. And me and my brother, we didn't really speak before, but now we're closer as well. Like, it's such a cliche, but this second chance of life, it changes everything for me now. But at the same time, I have to be mindful that I'm not just pushing myself to a limit where I actually hate myself because of it. I'm like, oh, my body's telling me, what are you doing this for?
Yeah, you don't want to burn through this second chance at life, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. And so you're right. Yeah, I try to go way too quickly, and now I'm just like putting the brakes on, slowing it down. As
Nice.
much as I want to be back in Ecuador now, I have an end game and end goal to do these things. I'm just going to take my time with it now, Toby.
Well, I mean, you can understand the psychology behind wanting to rush through everything and doing
Yeah.
lots because you must. Do you have that bit of like, this could be taken away? Does that niggle away at you, or are you coming to terms with like, I trust my body more because it can do more, and I trust my mind because it's a bit more settled? But
I feel more settled now, especially with having a partner. I feel like having somebody who unconditionally loves you and is there for you. And of course, she now knows about the story and she can't believe all this happened and I'm here. And in that way, because of all of these events that have happened in my life, the near-death experience, I would never have decided to have gone to South America because my friend at work suggested it. I would have never fallen in love with Ecuador and decided to go because I met her the second time I went back to go to Cotopaxi for these volcanoes. So all of these things, whether you want to call it fate or coincidence or whatever the universe may be planning, I just think these sequence of events have happened, and I feel more at peace with it now. Yeah, I do definitely think about it long term. When that's never going to leave me. I don't punish myself so much anymore because I feel loved and I feel like I have so much love to give to this other human being as well. That in itself is a game changer for me. But I just think at the end of the day, yeah, there are those moments where I just think, my God, like, am I doing too much? Am I enough? And sometimes I'll actually catch myself sort of in the moment and go, hang on a minute. And I'll have a word with myself. I'm like, come on,
absolutely.
don't be like that. You've got all of this going on now. Put on the brakes, like I say, take your time. So yeah, there are those moments that I think, oh man, I should be doing more now. What am I doing? But yeah, they come and go. The guilt is less. I used to have really bad PTSD where I would wake up at home thinking I was in hospital and all those kind of things, and that kind of fades out now and stuff. But I have a lot of help. Like I say, I'm on lifetime checks with Dr. Shamash and hematology just because of the extent of the damage done by 3 stem cell transplants in total with high dose chemo, 2 previous ones. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I would never have run before, so physically, I would say I feel better than pre-cancer. Mentally, that's highs and lows, peaks and troughs in terms of when it's bad, it can be quite bad, but when it's high, it's like a euphoric moment. I'm just kind of trying to find a balance in between because obviously if you're feeling great after a mountain and then the next day you feel better, it's like it's a bigger come down. So I'm just kind of finding that sort of plateau.
Just ebb out the peaks and troughs.
There's no such thing as normal for me now, I don't think, after that. Or normal, you try and get back to a normal life, but it's never going to feel the same way.
That's really interesting because we talk about the new normal. And actually maybe it's an acceptance that it's never going to be normal.
Yeah, it's a different kind of normal for you, I think. And people are like, oh yeah, you're running more now and you can't, I see you in it. And everybody understands that I would never have done this before.
I've got neutropenia. What's with nerve damage is what I meant to say there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So that's the thing. And now it kind of affects how I run and do all these things. But this is 10 years now, so I'm used to it. But at the beginning, I remember I actually broke my toe in the sea in Brazil, and I didn't even realize it because of the nerve damage. And you come out of the sea and horrify all these poor kids and their families, and they're like, "What is he?" And I'm like, oh, just little tiny things like that. But I'm used to that now. My body's adapted. I know that there's not limitations, but there's just certain things like mentally and physically that I'm like I can deal with that better. But my normal is trying to just sometimes some days I just want to get through the day, other times I'm just like, this is amazing, I wish this would continue. Still human, still have feelings, still feel bad sometimes. I think that's where it can come from in terms of like guilt, because like I should be skipping down the street every day and just like enjoying every single moment of life, and some days I just feel like shit still, and it's like that's allowed. I think you should give yourself that time to have those bad days, those down days. And people always, when we talk about cancer, will compare it. Oh, mine was never as bad as yours, or oh, you've lost this person, I've lost this person, and it's like it's completely experience in life, people will react completely differently. It's not about that. But yeah, this is why I'm happy to be here to talk about it. I've always said I'll share every single thing, the highs and the lows, because I think it's important for people to understand the process of treatment in cancer. And like, as you've said, that we can get to, is just please go and get yourself checked. Even if your doctor might turn around and be like, well, I'm not so sure. If you know your body, and if it feels that way where, okay, I'll go to another doctor and stuff. And it might be nothing. If it turns out, that's great. But if you have that niggle, there's a lump in your breast, if there's that lump that's there, if you're noticing something different, drop your pants and let a stranger just take a look at your balls or your boobs or something.
In a medical setting.
In a medical setting, yes. Let's just put that out there. Each to their own. But yeah, go to a medical professional for that. Like, say, it was such a tornado, as you put it, and it was. But I don't think, had I found that and not checked it out, and I've had friends that I've lost friends who I've been like, fuck, just go.
Yeah.
Be fine. And then they've actually got to a point where it's progressed too far or something. So don't let pride or anything like that get in the way. Just go. Please go.
Yeah. It's awful, but you always hear people go, like, I knew something was wrong. Like, in all of these, something's wrong. You have a baseline, you understand your body, you feel it every day, you know when something is wrong. When that feeling kicks in, when you're just like, in an ideal world, if I had the time and the capacity and the space to deal with this, I would put that as a priority. I think that's
100%.
That's the thing.
Oh, I'm not going to get the time off work. What am I going to do? How am I going to pay? And all of these thoughts were racing through my mind. And of course, 14 months. But again, people were helping with that as well. So that's all good that there's a community here. And that's why I'm actually grateful now, because we met, I think it was a year later, because we did Snowdon.
Was that your first mountain? I was going to ask that, actually.
Yes.
That's cool. Yeah.
So it was with you guys and Philly and the Checkham Lads peeps at the time. And I really struggled with that. But even back then, I kind of thought, well, this is really cool. We got to the top, and I had some family with me and stuff as well, Lorna's family. And that was amazing. Didn't quite get the bug at that point. I was knackered for weeks, but then I went to work. So yeah, it kind of, life happened. Spoke with my partner and all these kind of things. I was working in London, and then just really talking to these Brazilian people, and they were just putting it in there, planting the seed. And yeah, 10 countries, 414 days, all just done with a backpack and a load of buzzes and stuff. And yeah, best time of my life. And now I'm about to get married next year to a beautiful Ecuadorian woman. And yeah, things that would never have happened, of course. But so my normal is probably a bit crazier than most, but I do have that. And I will say, there's like some people just have that little red button, the fuck it button. Do I press this?
Yeah.
There's times when mine's just permanently taped down, and you ask me if I want to do something, I'll be like, what is it? Yeah, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something else, like, going surfing or going into the Amazon, doing things that actually would petrify me before. No, I don't. Yeah, but all within reason.
All within reason.
Put my life in danger after already having 2 weeks to live. So
yeah. But you have faced your own mortality in a way that I don't think 99%, if not more, of people have, which is a framing of the world that is very unique to you. So completely understand why that fuck it button might be slightly nudged more than everyone else.
There's been a few occasions in South America where it's like, this is a really dangerous place to go. I'm like, okay, when are we going tomorrow? Like, oh, because I've literally run out of people to ask, and someone actually asked me about something, like it was going to Venezuela, and I went, yeah, okay, because they just wanted to go, and it was a really nice time, by the way. The people were really good. Just want to put that out there. But there were places that people shouldn't go to or do, and I was just like, well, I'm here now, so okay. And I've met so many awesome traveling friends and other things, and I've actually become really close to other people who have gone through cancer and come out for stem cell transplant. The guy that I've been supporting, I've spoken to him. I'm going to hang out with him at some point, and he's super grateful. And I'm like, listen, this is the help that I got. It's not just the doctors and nurses who are amazing. It's it's the people that come in and clean your room and keep it clean and sterile so that you don't get infections.
Literal unsung heroes.
Yeah, the people will literally come in without blinking an eye. How you doing, Steve? You all right? You know, and they're wiping my arse and they're cleaning me up to freshen me in bed and stuff. And they're doing that every day. And they're just like, okay, man, yeah, you good? You gonna watch anything later? You gonna watch? And I'm just thinking, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I regularly go in when I go back to Barts for checkups. I'll pop in to see them. Because a lot of them, when I moved to the other ward, didn't actually know. They were like, "That's it, we're not going to."
Right.
And a lot of visitors, they all came out at the point where I was looking as bad as you've seen in the pictures. Like, "That's it,
Yeah.
it's gone." So I go back to remind them. One of the things I actually did, I gave them my first race medal. So in 5A in Barts, I went in there and said, "This medal, me running it's for you." So they actually have it in their office amongst this ward where things don't always work out for people and things like that. It's just a reminder to them that the things, they are saving lives and they saved mine.
That's
like a symbolic thing for them there.
Love that. That's amazing. You've mentioned some, obviously the hospital, some amazing charities. Is there anyone else that's you just want to throw out? Because the podcast's all about helping people listening. They might be going through something. Anyone that helped you, just want to give you the floor to say.
No, exactly. So of course, Philly Morris, who obviously is Testicular Cancer UK, I think, but he was very supportive and also going through that himself. Edward Solly was the gentleman who came to my first chemo. Nico Horace Smith actually came to do a lot of filming because the plan was we were going to try and make a documentary to help people with this. Fortunately, he passed away, but he ended up being my hospital dad because he came all the time and he would make jokes with me and the nurses. To my ex-partner, ex-wife Lorna, still my best friend. Like one of the strongest women I know. Like, it's not just about the people who go through it; it's the people that see it on the sidelines and it affects. And to know that she's happy now and living her life as well as me, that means the world to me. So yeah, Lorna, I know she won't watch or listen to this because I think it'd be too traumatizing for her. But I want people to know that there's everybody else who gets affected. Yeah, and just I would personally just like to dedicate this to my mum. Really, like I've done some other stuff myself, and it makes me sad to think about. But I also just when she was one of the most amazing, strongest humans that I had ever met, and it's when she passed, I was just like shit, like But she's always in my mind, and I look at it in a positive way, and I know that she'd be proud. So, just for me personally, I'd like to dedicate this to my mum.
Love that. Thank you so much. One thing we do with all of our guests is ask them 5 quick fire questions, which you obviously, I'm guessing you know all of these by heart at this point.
I've watched a few, yeah.
Well, we'll go through them. So, what advice would you give to someone who's worried they might have cancer?
So I know we've just sort of mentioned it, but just go to the GP, go and just tell them exactly what it is. They are there to help. Like I say, it doesn't matter how small you think it is. If you know something's changed, whether it's you find something, go and get it checked out. Go with a friend. I would definitely make sure you try and tell at least one person close to you to support you if you need that. I didn't do that, and that's why I would say to try and get some support with people around you, even before there might even be a diagnosis, because you need a wingman or a wingwoman, or you need to have someone. So I'd definitely go there. And if they don't think there's anything, go and get blood, see somebody anyway until you feel that it's good, because it could literally depend on what stage cancer it is or whatever it is. So just go to the bloody GP and go get it looked at. Don't be so proud to drop your pants or take your bra off or whatever it is. Please go and get checked out.
That's brilliant advice. I think the telling someone is actually really important as well, because that's that little bit of accountability, because they can prompt you, they can nag you, they can be that little Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder.
It's something I wish I'd done. Like I said, I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want to burden them. And really, at that point, I probably needed someone more than ever.
And you'd hate that if someone did that for you as well. I know that. You would want someone to tell you.
That came to visit me, really pissed, and I could see why. But yeah, try and get someone to make you accountable for that as well, a close friend or a relative, and just be like, it's nothing yet, but I need you.
Yeah,
definitely.
Love that. What was the most impactful thing someone did for you after your diagnosis?
Do you know what I actually think was the case? So when I was going out in and out of hospital and my hair fell out and I was losing weight and things like that, that my friends just treated me normally and tried to be, they would come come and visit me and say, God, Steve, you look like a bag of shit. You look terrible. And they'd make jokes about it and stuff, to a point where I like that, because sometimes people don't know what to say or do. And I totally understand that. And I was the same almost with mum, even having experience like, what, you've got this, people will deal with it in their own way. But for me, the most impactful thing at my lowest times, even in the hospital for those days, I would have friends that would just come and be like, oh man, I watched this thing, you've got to check this out. Like, someone actually let me use their iPad, and they would download films for me, because they would come in, and I know that they may have left at that point, and like my partner would bawled her eyes out, but they just kind of came in and just being treated like normal. Not that it wasn't happening, it wasn't being ignored, but just being like, yeah, man, if you watched this the other day, and just and basically almost kind of taking a piss. My friends, my close friends that were like that, it just helped me get through that stuff. Because I needed to smile, I needed to laugh, I needed to be like, I do look like shit, or whatever it is that they said. Like, it sounds small, but I think the small things during these times make a bigger difference than people actually think.
It's a sense of normalization in a very, very abnormal situation.
100%. And that's all I wanted in those little moments, was just to have a normal conversation or something. So might sound a little bit daft. You'd think of maybe a bigger gesture, but no, just being normal and basically for me, it was making jokes and just sort of not making humor of the situation, but just putting a smile on my face or something, or like, that was really, really impactful for me.
Love that. What's the worst thing someone has said to you about having cancer?
The worst thing, and I understand the perspective of where it would come from, but constant sort of like, oh man, we're gonna do this, we're gonna get through this, or you got this. And it's not because of them saying that, it's just at some point when you're so mentally low, sometimes the last thing you want to hear, I wanted to hear, was my friends who were like, come on, let's go, let's you got this, we can do this, because you could see in their eyes they're like that. So normally my answers are probably the other way around. You would expect the worst thing to be, you look like shit, to be that. But for me, it was like them just being like, okay, yeah. For me, it was flipped a little bit, because it was just, I didn't want to hear it anymore, and I stopped people from visiting me, and I didn't want that again. It's personal, it's different for everybody, but I think there were some times when I just didn't want to hear that anymore. And it's just like, okay, because so many people with love, with respect, would come and say, yeah, you've got this. So it was something that I wanted more to be for Lorna. But in fact, actually, one of the worst things I ever heard was Lorna begging me to try, because she was told I had 2 weeks to live. She saw on my face that I was giving up. I was before I had the tube, I was throwing food in the bin. I was like, I don't want this. Trying not to get through or whatever, and not sabotage, but like I say, she knew me well enough to know that when I said to you earlier I didn't want to wake up the next day, she saw it. And there was one particular day she just looked, and I saw she had nothing left, and she was holding on. And she was like literally in tears, just like, please. And for her to have to say that, please try and live, please. So really, I guess having you got this thing, for me, it was wearing me down a bit. But now I think about it, because she was at her lowest point, and so was I. It was just, she had to beg me to try and live, or make an effort to do it. So that's, even thinking about it now, that's absolutely heartbreaking. Your partner's asking you to fucking try because you're giving up. Sorry about that. That's a bit of a heavy one there, but
it's part of what you went through.
But it's true. Yeah,
it's absolutely true. Thank you for sharing it, because that must have been hard to share as well.
Yeah,
to relive that.
It just came to me, of course, and but yeah, like I say, now it's we're all good. I actually went out for dinner with her and her partner and everything, and she's an absolutely amazing human. So I'll always love that woman. So yeah,
that's amazing.
Thanks for asking.
What advice would you give to someone recently diagnosed with cancer?
I would definitely to tell them a few things. Please don't go online and start looking for stuff like best ways to deal with it or whatever. If you're going to go online, what I mean by that is, like say, Dr. Google. If you feel like you're not getting the right help, which of course you are, but you don't know these things, speak with the doctor or a nurse or somebody else. The other thing I would say would be to come to a charity like yourselves, to find a community of people. That's what another thing that helped me. I found Check'emlads at the time. Ask for help, please. Ask for help. Please tell somebody. Like I had so much therapy afterwards as well, but like it's people being diagnosed, try and find people, find a group like this, find this, because I know that part of the charity is about getting people to check themselves, about seeing the signs of stuff as well, but it's offering a community of people who can help you. Like I know Lorna had a bad time of it, but it would have been way worse without the women or the partners of other men at the time. They were like, come on, like, you know, when I was in hospital for 160 days, I was just like, can someone just please go and get my wife drunk, or can you know, just do something?
Yeah.
But if you're diagnosed, accept the help, do what you're told. I was a smoker at the time, and he literally said, quit smoking or you can't. Like, whatever you want, I'm going to do that. Just please listen to medically trained people. They do know what they're doing. Don't look or ask Dr. Google for your whatever alternative remedies and stuff like that. But do try and find groups of people, whether it's someone going through it, someone who's been through it or anything. I would advise just try and find a group, try and find some support, whether it's through yourselves, Macmillan, or any other charity like that. Just, there is help out there. It's not just have some chemo or surgery and get it done with. There's other sides to it. That please just ask for help, because that week for me, I didn't, and I should have done. And I didn't. I found I had it after the diagnosis, but even that point, like say straight afterwards, if anyone is like literally listening now, from the bottom of my heart, please just get chatting with people. Find yourself a group, community, chat room, get someone to, you know, do whatever it is that you need. It's all out there. Just please, because I didn't at the beginning, and I wish I did. It helps a lot to have support from other people going through stuff the same, I would say. So yeah,
unbelievable oversimplification, but a problem shared is a problem halved.
100%.
It's just those people in those communities get it.
Yeah,
and that's what you need.
Yeah, someone who's been through it, who helped me. Yeah, my first chemo with Edward, for example. I was like, thank you. I was so grateful for that. So yeah. And I do the same thing. You know, anyone can get in touch with me online or message me if they have a friend or whatever. I'm happy to, because eventually that's what I ended up having.
Yeah.
And it's so simple, like I say, it's so effective. It changes everything. People don't think about the mental health side of things sometimes, and it's that also needs help sometimes. So yeah, 100%, mate, definitely.
And lastly, what's the biggest lesson you've learned from having a cancer?
There's so many. Like I say, I was just happy-go-lucky, living a normal life, of course, before, but I think the biggest lesson I've learned, and it's a very simple one again, even though sometimes I know that I haven't been, but I've learned over recent years, just be kinder to yourself. Give yourself a break. Stop trying to run across mountains and do all these things with some. Stop, take a look at the world around you, take a moment for yourself. And when I say be kind, like I say, sometimes just doing nothing and just soaking it up can do a lot for you. And just, again, I'm not ashamed to ask for help now. You know, I'm not ashamed to say, as a man, the smallest thing, you know, I could burst down in tears. I'm very emotional. I'm way more emotional and stuff like that. But I just be honest and true to yourself with your own feelings. And if you feel like you either need help or someone, like, just be honest with your friends, be honest with the people that are close to you. Don't be like I was, like, don't hide away from it and stuff, because things don't go away, and it's easier said than done. Everything that we've been talking about today can be easier said than done, but I have been there. I have done that. I don't have a particular T-shirt per se, as you would say in the fit, but you know what I mean. Like,
you do have a great T-shirt on, by the way.
This I wore this especially because it's a hell of a joke, and I've been using it in terms of alpha male travelers, because there's nothing alpha about a pink T-shirt with fluffy kittens on. FYI. But yeah, no, I would just take those moments in time, I think, and I do that. You know, like I say, I was trying to go 100 miles an hour, and eventually, if you hit a brick wall at 100 miles an hour, you're going to do a lot more damage to yourself than if you just kind of walk up to it and walk around it, you know. That would, I just came up with that. That was pretty good. I might use that. But yeah, that's the thing. I think, take a moment. Sometimes you don't see what's around you because you're going so fast, and now that's what I'm doing. There will be times where I will go 100 miles an hour at some point, but that will be with training and preparation rather than just, I'm going to do this. So take a step back. Again, it's simple and it's a cliche, but please just be kind to yourself, because for me, it is a second chance, and after cancer, for a lot of people, life will change, as I've seen by many of your guests. It change. It will change for the better, but also as well, there are other times where like the normal things aren't so normal, or you lose a friend or you lose someone afterwards. Everything affects everybody in different ways. But I'm now taking a moment, and I'm actually reflecting now as I'm saying this to you, like, what am I going to do for the rest of the day? Well, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to go home and start working on some other things as well. I'm writing a book that I keep talking about, but hopefully that'll be out next year. Just for the whole thing, I want to write about my travels and how the near-death experience led me to go to those travels, and other things as well. But yeah, that was it. I've probably given you long-winded answers there to simple questions, but yeah, you deserve to be loved. You deserve to be kind to yourself, and I know it's hard to after that, but I could do it. I was on the fun of myself even after cancer after a while, and I stopped and was like, okay, yeah. Because that's the other side that people don't see, is what happens afterwards. And you think, well, you're cured now, that's it, off you go.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, just be kind to yourself and let people be kind to you, because sometimes you can push people away as well, like I did. And sometimes people just want to help. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you.
No worries, man. Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to it.
Lastly, just where can people find you? Because I realise we haven't mentioned that yet.
Okay, so I spend most of my time, obviously, on Instagram, because that's where I post all of my travels and things like that. So that would be at Steve Wrong Pop. So Wrong Pop's one word. That's the label that I run. I have a few episodes of just me, like a solo monologue. I used to call it a podcast, but if you go to wrongpop1word.bandcamp.com, that has a few things on there where I kind of go in depth about stuff. Just me talking, really. And then there's an album that I released on there for Anthony Nolan as well. So there's a lot of music on there. I put music out so that people can donate to charity and do that. And also, really, I would heavily say to people, apart from obviously getting in touch with charities like yourself and supporting these guys as well, because really this is so important. And I just want to take this moment to say thank you for the work you're doing. There'll be a lot of people who wouldn't be here because of that, and I know you've taken something very tragic and turned it into something amazing, so I really respect that. And if you're young enough, try and register for this Anthony Nolan stem cells, because that's what Sam did, and I'm here because of Sam, literally. So yes, get involved, people. Yeah, but that would be it, definitely.
Amazing.
Thanks, man.
Well, thank you for your honesty, your time, your storytelling, just for being in this moment with me and everyone listening and everyone that will be watching. I'm so grateful. It's been a hell of a journey from Stoke to South America.
I know, right?
And now sitting here with me, but I am so grateful that you shared all of it with us.
I appreciate you too. And like I say, to anyone listening, just get in touch with these guys, support these guys as well, because it's a selfless job that you do, man, and you're appreciated for it. Okay.
Thank you. And I think we'll end there before I get too awkward about all this, but thank you, Steve. No, really appreciate it.
No, welcome to see you, my friend. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a review and follow us on social media at Thrive Against Cancer. And be sure to check out our other episodes wherever you listen to your podcasts and on YouTube. If you want to help support our mission to give a voice to the cancer community, please contact us or visit our website to learn more at thriveagainstcancer.co.uk.